Welcome to the Brahma Kumaris, where a new world is opened up for you. From humble beginnings in India in 1936 to a global organization with over 8,000 centers in 110 countries and 1 million students worldwide. Through their tireless commitment, passionate heart, and determined spirit, the Brahma Kumaris arrived in America in 1974 and have since grown to 35 main centers throughout America. There are also 2 residential retreat centers, Peace Village, located in upstate New York, and Anubhuti, located in Novato, California.
I want to just share a little bit about how the centers of Raj Yoga meditation began in United States. Actually, I was in Caribbean islands and I got invitation from New York that we want to start something about meditation. And it was in 1978 I came here and we rented a very small apartment in Astoria. And from there I found that a lot of people have interest. I realized that there is so much need, and from there onwards then centers started in many other states.
Our centers are safe spaces where you can explore the power of your inner world.
The classes are conducted in many homes, many cities all over across the United States. A lot of people, they learn meditation, they use it, that meditation, at their workplace, in their family. And also I find that children, young adults, because they are so much into what really is the life about.
The Brahma Kumaris are dedicated to personal and global transformation through the study and spiritual practice of Raj Yoga meditation. And at the heart of our teaching is the belief that the pathway to peace and happiness is to remember our original nature as spiritual beings, connected to the One Source. In 1981, the organization received recognition as an international non-governmental organization affiliated with the United Nations and accredited with general consultative status with the Economic and Social Council. From organizing large-scale global initiatives to local community programs, the Brahma Kumaris has a tradition of service in every field that fosters spiritual growth among individuals from all backgrounds, cultures, and walks of life.
I hold on to this vision, the world of love, world of peace and harmony, world which is free from conflict and sorrow, where we can live as brothers, one family, children of common parents, one supreme divine power.
This is your invitation to awaken and join us in creating a world of love, peace, and kindness. Om Shanti.
To live without fear in a world that's secure. Some say it's a fool's dream, but I'm not so sure. I see all your faces on my TV, driven and hungry with eyes full of tears, mourning your children, fathers and friends, caught in a war that just never ends. How long will it be till your life is mine, and all I believe in has turned into lies? With all that I am and all that I have, I send you this token, this love from my heart. Oh, I've seen a place much more than a dream, a place of such beauty it hurts just to see, a place of no pain, no crying, no war, where peace is the treasure that has been restored. If I had one wish, it would be this. It would be this.
Om Shanti. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to your spiritual vaccine, your 1 hour of whatever this is, but your 1 hour of being empowered, enlightened, clarified. Your 1 hour for just figuring yourself out. And during this particular time of being so introspective and being kind of limited in your exposures of people, limited in your reach, even though Zoom, Skype, Facebook, YouTube, a telephone, a text message, they've all given us virtual experiences of each other, which on many levels are playing at a very deeper thought capacity, a thought level. What was the difference between you being in a room of 10 people with their 10 physical bodies, carrying their thought vibrations in the room, and what's been the difference of you being on a Zoom conference call or meeting with 10 people in their own respected spaces, in their homes, speaking to you through a lens or through a computer? Feel free to share your comment. Like, what's been the difference? Have you found that there's been a lot more acceptance? Has your mind offered more love or kindness or respect? Did you find that you're not as affected by the person as usually you are when you're in their company? What have you been observing for the last month or two where you're not able to see folks physically share in their karmic vibrational energy? Some of their energy might influence you, some of it might bounce off of you, some of their energies might repulse you. And all of that is coming from a system and a pattern of their quality of thinking. Please feel free to put some stuff in the Facebook. The other day, I mean, not in Facebook, I'm sorry, in YouTube. There's a reason why that came out of my mouth, you see? It's recorded in me that it's down. And then I had a thought, we had all day, we could fix it. And then that thought goes into a really long train of waste thoughts, which create a system of waste. You get that? So I was watching myself, how we create systems based on thoughts, and then we blame other people when we don't look at ourselves to check what my thoughts were and why I've created that reality and why am I wasting my time and energy. Anyway, we're going to go in all of that today. But the other day, I was clearing out videos because I don't know what's wrong with Sister Jenna's phone, but every time I have to send a video to Sandosh or email, it just won't share. Apparently, my phone might not have any more storage. So it's been very, very difficult. And I'm somebody who keeps a lot of my memories on a phone because you all know by now one of my hobbies is that when I have free time on my hands and my phone is near me, then I will put together a little video. A video that will convey maybe how I'm feeling, or a video that will convey a teachings of Raj Yoga meditation, or a video that might convey a message for a program or a project that I'm involved with, or a video based on a song like the one that you just saw. I just put it together before we came on air. You know, so I had that time and I was sitting, and what's in the system, an aspect of my system within the soul, is that I wish for my life to be of benefit. That what comes out, let it be of service. Let me use my thoughts and my time. How can this be of service? Because I feel that if my thoughts are benevolent or of service, it comes back to me as an energy of karma or energy of vibrations. And why sometimes I even find myself getting confused is when sometimes uncomfortable things come into my vortex. And I'm like, come on, by now, I've done so much good, give me a break. And so sometimes my quiet conversations in my head, I will speak to like the universe, and I speak to God. I go, come on, it's time you just gave me a break. You know, so it's really interesting to see how these thoughts create particular systemic cycles in our framing of our personality. So back to the story. I'm looking through my phone and I'm going through memories upon memories, everyone. So many memories. Like, if I were to show you, there are like 30,000 images on this phone. So many memories. Incredible. I'm with leaders of countries. I'm with kids in villages of India. Black, white, rich, poor, mentally or intellectually challenged, athletes, actors, somebody who nobody knows. And in all of the pictures, as I was going through it, I picked up this system that's recorded in me of a system of acceptance of all people. And I paused and I kept looking at that, like, what would create a system within my personality that appreciates the acceptance of all people. In every picture, it just seemed as if you met everyone at the same level. What's that system of thoughts that has been created for such a long time? Anyway, for the third time, back to the story that I'm trying to tell you. So I'm looking through the phone and I came across a video. We were coming back from one of the America meditating retreats at Peace Village Learning and Retreat Center. And it was Madame Harriet Fulbright, Betty Brown, myself, Antonia, Sister Gita, Sister Lakshmi, and one of our other sisters, Bubbly. And we're all in this car coming back together. And I happened to have put on some sort of a, was it like a radio song or some radio music? And it was sort of disco kind of. Now, Mrs. Fulbright at the time, I think, was at least in her 80s. And I won't tell you how old Betty Brown is because she is an eternally young spirit. So I don't care if her body is 40, 50, 60, 70, I have no idea. But I know she's a little bit up there in age than me. And in the video, it's just myself. You know, Sister Gita loves dancing, so she's going to dance anyway. Harriet Fulbright, who's 80-something in the car. Betty, we were the only ones dancing, having a great time. Okay, just imagine the video. I wish I could play it. I wish I would have sent it to Santosh, but it just came up as I'm sharing with you. And Antonia is stiff as a rock, right? You know, Antonia is the one who keeps us all in check, and she makes sure that we don't fall out of line. And she's just really the serious one. And on her left is Betty Brown. On her right is Madame Harriet Fulbright, as you know, the Fulbright Scholarship family. And she's just sitting in the car like this. Now I'm driving and I'm like, yeah, wonderful, let's go. You know, Sister Gita, of course, is her royal, gentle, angelic self. The other two sisters are like out there, like, okay, these Westerners are like so intoxicated. Because they were the Indian sisters, so their culture is different. They tend to be a lot more reserved when they're with people of other cultures. But if they're with their own Indian cultures, they really open up, which says a lot, to tell you the truth. But anyway, back to the story. I'm looking at the video, and it's giving me so much joy. So much joy that I'd like to ask you, how many of you tuning in right now are able to remember the systems that you've created in your life that were just filled with joy and that you were grateful? And I found out that Betty Brown has been watching the show too, so I don't know if she's on today, but I really want to give Betty a big, big shout out, a big, big love, and a big, big appreciation for being who she is and for savoring all the wonderful experiences we've had for over 20 years that we've also known each other and have done so many good things together. So I'm glad we started off on this note of laughter, because one of the things that, and please get a pen and paper for today, because I don't want to go through fast. I don't need to speed today's program. I would like you to take a moment of pause and think for yourself right now, what has changed for you due to the external systemic ways you were accustomed to living your life. And just take a few moments. What has changed for you? And maybe Santosh can type it in the comment field. But what has changed for you since the COVID pandemic? And I might be safe for me to assume that if you were to instantly write down what your changes were, you would outline mostly physical changes. Am I right? Have you changed your morning routine? How you get up in the morning and get prepared and head out to something that you're accustomed to doing? Have you changed your social obligations? Have you changed your eating habits? That's a big thing. I was talking to a friend today who said, "Oh," I said, "how are you today?" "I eat, I sleep. I eat, I sleep." And I was remembering in our advanced class, there was a class in our advanced sessions of the Brahma Kumaris. It's called the Murli. We call God in the Brahma Kumaris Baba. And Baba says, "You're not one of those who wake up, eat, and sleep, do you?" He says, "You don't use your time eating and sleeping, do you?" So it was a question that he raised to us. But back to the question, what has changed for you since the COVID pandemic?
One lady says she's from Oregon and
Welcome from
now I
Oregon.
watch recorded videos. Now I can watch live.
Oh, she says,
So
oh,
it's a positive thing.
oh, great. So one of the things that have changed for you is that instead of watching recorded videos, you're now watching live videos. That's great. Anyone else?
Betty Brown says,
Betty!
best trip ever, happy, joyous, loving.
Betty, wasn't that a wonderful time? I'm trying to get the comments on the YouTube here so I can answer everyone real time, but I don't know how.
Let me send you.
Yeah, thank you. I should be able to get it from here though. Betty, we've had so many great times. It's been a great system between us. My thoughts for you have been only the best, and your thoughts for me have been only the best. And the system that's being created by those thoughts is that only the best of things will come our way, especially when we're together. It's a system. Thoughts create system. They create reality. I heard that in the morning class today, and it hit me so deeply that all day I kept thinking, what system for my life have I created for these over 50-something years, moving on to 60? What has been the system of my life? Oh, okay, sorry. So yes, Betty, it's been a great time. It's been really some great time. So let's see. You sent me the YouTube link, but I have that, but I don't know how to get the comments. Okay, here they are. So let's take a look at some of your comments as we talk about thoughts and system. Okay, David says, my expectations of myself have changed. That is huge. Wow, I wonder why. My expectations of myself have changed. Julie Williams, welcome to your spiritual vaccine hour. Being disabled and homebound, not much physical change, but Raj Yoga has increased my ability to manage stress better. That's wonderful. It's so wonderful to hear. So Julie from Oregon, normally I would watch recorded videos. Now I'm able to do the live ones. Great, great. So Etta, Om Shanti, so nice to have you on board. When the world comes back to normal, but what is normal anyway, it will never be the same. With God's help, souls will be kinder, more caring and loving. We're all in this together, Etta. Somebody says that as a result of this, I started to wake up early in the morning for my morning meditation, known as Amrit Vela. And Dr. Madhavi said her interactions with my family members were more deep, and I'm able to work on my thoughts and make deeper conscious decisions. Nagrashi is saying, I got time to look more into myself, speak and spend time with myself. I don't know if this is Ivan or Yvette from Puerto Rico. Welcome. And they shared that I have more peace of mind, and they've enjoyed listening to the 6:30 programs all the way from Puerto Rico.
There's some more in there.
There's some more there?
After Naveen.
Okay, well, I've gotten a few that I could mention. Thank you for those. The reason why I've asked this question, what has changed as a result of the COVID pandemic for you? And it's interesting that many of you shared internal changes. I've spoken to a few people that have shared with me the external changes. So let's take a look at consciousness, or let's take a look at ourselves as souls. And I'd like you to take a deep breath with me. Okay. As you navigate yourself through this particular period, there are some of you who might be alone. There's some of you that might be with one partner. There's some of you that might be in a family of 4 or 5 or 6. And you see each other every day. And it's the same routine, the same pattern of things with each other. Some of you might be on the same wavelength. Some of you might be traveling down 2 different highways, but you're in the same city, right? When you look inside of yourself and you recognize that there is a living energy that's navigating everything out here, the soul is in charge of your own body. The soul is in charge of the quality of thoughts. At least the soul houses the thoughts that you have in your mind. The whole world has manifested itself as a result of our thoughts. And I've heard from various illuminaries and leaders, whether they're from the secular dimension or the spiritual dimension, and you hear them saying that the system that we have had is corrupt. The system that we've become accustomed to is not useful anymore. It's no longer what it was meant to offer. Who created the system of law? Who created law? It was a thought. Where did the thought come from? From a soul. How did that soul convey the message of what they think is the best law, policy, system, story, format? Came first from a thought that was inside of a soul. That soul spoke those words, wrote those words, invited and galvanized other people who would resonate with that thought vibration to come up with some policy or collective idea or collective rule or a collective system. The Federal Reserve was drafted and created by 11 bankers that sat in a private room. And our economy revolves around so much of what has taken place as a result of that meeting with 11 men in a room. And we have complied by that system for generations upon generations upon generations, without questioning. But if for whatever reason those thought processes no longer serve a vast majority of people, it starts to move into a case of entropy where it starts to move towards chaos. And chaos is a sign that whatever was created is no longer being sustained. It's coming to an end. It's coming to a close. Look at a marriage, for example. If you've been in a marriage for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, they say after 7 years of a marriage, if you can survive it, you can survive it a little bit longer. But if you've been in a marriage, let's say 10 years, and along the way, you just stopped talking to each other the way you used to when you used to court or date. And you stopped seeing each other for the value and the things that you fell in love with in your first year. And then the kids came. And then all of your thought energy went towards the kids, that when you looked at your spouse, it was more frustration. Why aren't you helping me? Or when are we going to find time to be together? Because your whole system of being a free single person has completely changed. That system of you being a single person, a bachelor or bachelorette, was a system that was sustained by thoughts that only a single person thinks. What's in it for me? It's all about me. I, me, and mine. Or I'm not in the mood. I don't feel like going out today. I'm just going to lay around. Because there's no one else to talk to. There's no other system of partnership, sacrifice, commitment, extension of communication, adjustment, tolerance, flexibility. And you see, when you even hear that, that's all thought, energy, and potential that you will invest in a relationship to make it work. Flexibility, commitment, sacrifice, adjustment. All of those are thought processes that would create a system in a relationship to sustain it. And what can happen in your marriages or in your friendships or in your relationships with people, when you no longer feel like offering those thoughts towards something that you've created, it starts to break down, which is why we've had so many divorces in the past. We stop giving kindness. We stop looking at each other's qualities. We stop looking at what we once loved in the other person. And we start to feed a thought system of what's wrong with the person. And without knowing it, we are breaking down an old paradigm, an old system in which I used to relate to that person. And by the time 5 years, 10 years pass, we don't even remember what we did to have dismantled what was once a very beautiful experience. Just because of the thought. Am I making sense to everyone? If you're listening in and you have any comments. So I want you right now to take maybe a minute or two, and on your paper or on your phone or whatever, think about in what way has a particular system within you has been built, and you really deeply believe that from this moment of introspection and isolation and reflection, everything in your being knows this is no longer useful for me. I don't need this way of seeing this relationship anymore this way. Do you have the thought process? And I want you to keep connecting thoughts to a systematic way in how you're living your life. Do you have the thought of worrying? I don't know where the next dollar is going to come from. And imagine having that thought ever so often every day. The wall, the structure, the way it will support that thought by sending back another signal to you saying, we don't really know where the next dollar is going to come from. What are we going to do? And you create that internal mechanics. Oh, I don't know. Look, the government hasn't given me any money. My job hasn't called me back. My boss says he doesn't know where he's going to get the money. And even though those are realities, what can I co-create for the system that seems to be no longer useful for us? Everyone is saying, and nobody knows for sure. I've spoken to experts. I've spoken to folks who are average in the world, who might not have as much influence on the planet. And I've spoken to people who have massive influence on the planet. Nobody exactly knows how the world is going to be if and when we move out of this stage. Nobody. There are certain states in the United States that are planning to reopen slowly. There are discussions about restaurants opening up, and instead of having 20 in a restaurant, they will have 2 sit at a table. You have to wait in line to go into the supermarket. What are all these changes in the physical formation of our system revealing to us as people? Why are we being asked to stand 6 feet apart from each other? When I observe the kingdom of animals, we're out here in Virginia, and I look at the deers, and I look at there's a fox, two of them that are out here. I look at the squirrels. I look at the birds. They're not clinging to each other. Everyone seems to have their respected space, even though they move together, for the exception of the fox, that Happy's scared of, by the way. But they have their respected space. Is it that we've mixed our energy so much with each other that we've lost sight of who we are? And is that social distancing or respected space giving us an opportunity to transform to a system where you and I lived with our self-respect and dignity on our own, as if we were sovereigns of ourselves, no longer depending on one person to physically, emotionally only give me the comfort? Whatever happened to my ability to stand on my own 2 feet, to be in my own self-respect, and to understand my own universal karmic laws that are fundamentally the same for every person on this planet? If I ignore you, I'm going to be ignored. If I give you sorrow, I'm going to get sorrow. If I give you love, I will get love. If I give you happiness, I will get happiness. So it's as if this dismantling of what we called old systems, I would like you to look at the systems not from a level of a governmental system. I don't want you to look at the systems as a science, so to speak. I don't want you to look at systems in the form of all the external definitions of systems, how corporations work, how the educational system has worked for years. Children are now at home with their families, learning. Homeschool was always possible. And there are some family members who used to homeschool their children. And then you would hear other parents going, I can't believe they do that. But what about the social this? What about... And now, children are learning from home. It's a new system. What's changing in the thought processes of parents? What's changing in the thought process of children? How are each person relating to each other as a thought world? So even though a physical event and a physical situation has forced us to change, my question to you is, have you changed? And what does that mean? Have you changed your systematic way of thinking about yourself and about one another? This is a huge assignment. I was in a meeting the other day, and someone who, there isn't a very strong intimate connection with this person. This isn't someone that I've ever heard said anything good, or maybe made an address that, they even noticed that I'm in a room. And for the first time, the person made an effort of acknowledging the presence of certain things. And the system that I had created over a period of time is, I'm not used to ever hearing the person say anything good or anything in acknowledgement of anything to do with me. So I don't have any connection to it. And when the person actually did that and it actually felt genuine, I had no idea how to respond to it because I wasn't used to it. It wasn't a system that I had become accustomed to. And after the scene had passed, I looked at myself and I wrote in my journal, I thought it was nice that they acknowledged your work or who you are, but I just don't know how to receive it. I'm not accustomed to it. Is this my blockage? And is that a system that I've created? Or is it that I'm just my own self-sovereign? So thank you. Let's move on. Next. These are the questions I ask you to investigate within yourself. Go deep inside of you and check. What system have you created so far? And what needs to be dismantled right now that no longer feeds your existence, your truth? Let's take a pause and a breath. I think we shared a lot just now. But I just want you to turn behind your eyes. And acknowledge that your living energy, the soul, is sitting inside of you behind your eyes. It has been either watching or listening to these thoughts. And maybe these thoughts hold some truths for you. And it is dismantling a systemic way in which you've been living. So there should be a little discomfort. There should be a little shake. There should be a little crack, because you're opened. And in that openness, the soul is able to receive new thoughts, new ideas, new ways of being, so that it can sustain and create a future where the way we live our lives match the universal laws. Let's take a moment of silence and just relax together. Just let the peace around you just make you think a little. What's the system that you have shaped in and around your world? Thoughts create systems. Thoughts create systems, which means as a result of the system that I've created from my thoughts, I'm doing things on automatic pilot without really giving much deep thought as to, does this serve me? Is this beneficial for me? Is this useful for me? And if you're home and you don't feel fulfilled and you don't feel contented, and there are moments where there's restlessness or a little bit of frustration, if there's a feeling that you're not fulfilling a greater sense of yourself, and it's not about the doing, but it's about the being, is there something that needs to change in the way your system has been operating? In a computer, when they speak about the operational system, if something is wrong in the system, it doesn't work. It shows you an error. How are your relationships? Are they working? Or does it show an error? How are your finances? Are they flowing? Or does it show you an error? How does your mind work? In the midst of all of this quietude and detachment, and hearing unemployment has skyrocketed and businesses are not sure how they're going to continue after this, is there an error in your mind where you feed into the dismantling of an old system in our world that stood by and watched millions and millions and millions and billions of people suffer? As human beings, we stood by and have watched children go to sleep without food, children go to bed without proper drinking water, children being trafficked, mothers being abused, fathers being wrongly imprisoned, people at the top pulling money while hard-working people struggle to make a dime. Are your thoughts supporting the fear of that system that we are witnessing now breaking down and being dismantled? Or is it showing an error for you to fix the way you think, how you believe this world is going to unfold into? Are you changing the quality of your thoughts? Moving it from waste to negative into what your vision and reality of what the future is that you wish to see, not just for yourself, but the entire world. Are you changing those thoughts? And the last core aspect of our operational system is our health. The way I think is connected to some emotions, or emotions rather are connected to the way that I think. Majority of us eat from a state of emotions, not because the body requires certain nutrients so it doesn't feel hungry, The only reason why physically your body feels hungry, it's because the proper nutrient hasn't been ingested in your system. So, if you've got that going on, and emotional issues that you still wish to address, and it's when you eat the chocolate, it's when you eat the potato chips, it's when you eat the cookies, you feel satisfied, you will get a system error. You will feel each time you put the cookie in your mouth, the chocolate in your mouth, you will get a thought with an error and says, you shouldn't be doing that. Have an apple. Have some grapes. Drink some water. That's what the system error does. When your thoughts begin to recognize that your old system is no longer for your benefit, it starts to show up with errors. It means something hasn't been addressed, something has been missed, something has been abused, or something has run its course of time. It's no longer needed. So in essence, thoughts, your mental state, your physical health, your financial situation, and your relationships. Are they all running smooth? Is everything running smooth for you? Or are there challenges? Food for thought, huh? If there's anything that you'd like to ask in the comments field or anything, feel free to do that. Or I hope everyone's enjoying it, but I could actually go on and on about this. There is something so powerful from our morning class today in the Advanced Murli, where in the teachings of the Murli, Baba was connecting how our thoughts are creating this systematic energy about our lives and how it's unfolding. So I'll just check on what is everybody enjoying? Please tell me. Let's see what I'm missing. Yeah. Okay, great. Portia, best show ever. Wonderful. Trend, feel good. Grateful for this ministry coming through. Beautiful. All right. Yes, Clovia, they are archived because they're on YouTube, so you can definitely.
Etta was asking what changed in you.
Etta, what has changed in me? That's a good question, Etta, because I was asking that question when I took Happy out today, and I was walking around the island, and I said, what has changed? Because I've been churning this thought about my thoughts and my systems. And I would say that I'm recognizing more clearer where I'm not taking care of myself at a deeper spiritual level. That has become more highlighted for me, that, you know, running from one meeting to another and stuff, even though we're on lockdown, I've been so occupied. And during the day, I've been saying, where am I inside of myself though? What's most important for me is the purity of my energy for me, not for even anyone else, Etta. But how much has my purity and my peace expanded for me? Because that's where my joy is. That's a system that you and I once held. A system of such order and inner purity that whatever thought we created, it manifested instantly because everything was in order. Haven't you noticed that when you have a daily timetable or you have structure or order in your life, look, you know, everything just flows? Everything flows. Speak to somebody who is retired. They have no idea what to do with their time because they have so much time on their hands that they're constantly like all over the place. So what a system does, when you have created your thoughts and put them in proper order, firstly, do your thoughts connect to the original peaceful nature of your personality, the purity of your personality, the love of your personality, the power of your personality is connected by a system of thoughts that you've been having. And how do those thoughts transcend in your relationships with the people you live with, work with, or associate with? Another thing to investigate. The third factor, how are you taking care of your finance? What I love from Ken Honda, one of the shows that we've had, feel free to go back to one of our conversations with Ken Honda on our spiritual vaccine. Ken Honda has this habit that when he spends money, he says, arigato. Thank you for even giving me money that I can spend. And whenever he would make money, whether it's from work or one of his books or somebody donates, this is a great chance to send a donation to the Meditation Museum so I can arigato that experience. But even when he's bringing in the money, he says, arigato, thank you. So when he's spending the money, so when you write the donation check, arigato, thank you, Meditation Museum. And when we receive it, we say arigato, thank you. May this person's fortune increase always. Imagine that system of exchange between people. What would that change in our economy and the way our finance works? Would people be selfishly driven, or would they be more generous with each other? It fascinates me. Throughout all the years that I've been with the Brahma Kumaris, they've consistently been one of the most generous groups of people I've ever had the fortune of knowing. They don't wait for you to be generous. They just are. Arigato. There's a thankfulness about their nature that an awakening has happened in them. And when that awakening happens, something has to change. The old system of thought patterns change, and they become a better version of themselves, day by day, moment by moment, thought by thought. I'm really inspired about this topic because as I think more about it, I can see so much benefit in it. But I can see I'm totally running out of time today. I'm so sorry if I've been going on and on. Santosh, I might have asked you to play a particular video today, but I really don't wish to do that now. Any other thoughts that anyone has online that I would like to?
Fieldwood was asking,
Okay, I don't know about the Cash App, Feel Good, but if you go onto the Meditation Museum, there's a PayPal link and means for you to donate from there, which are welcome. See, arigato, arigato, Mr. Feel Good. May you earn millions. Arigato, 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 arigato. It's been a big thing for me that we have to be grateful, which is one aspect of our system that a lot of us don't have a lot. We don't talk about the things that we're really grateful for because sometimes our thought system is focused on what's broken and what we don't like. You know, it's become such an old story, such an old story. Any questions that anyone might have apart from that? Is it on the same thing? Yeah?
he was asking,
I can...
as a collective consciousness, why does it feel as though it is easy to sway people or influence people from a fear-based energy over love?
I think it's that the minority rules, and I think once the minority gets their act together, to be in a collective, cohesive, focused quality of thought and system, then you'll see that it will change. We can't wait for the majority to change. They won't be the initiators of changing us. For example, and Santosh, if you can get the song that I did with Ricky Cage, which we can close off for the meditation, that would be great. In the Brahma Kumaris right now, even though 9,000 of our centers are closed, and only the sisters who are at home or who are in the centers are there, and let me tell you what's been happening in all of the Brahma Kumari centers. In every center, whether it's the dedicated teachers that are in that center or the students belonging to that center, they're getting up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning to connect their thoughts to God and to themselves. That's an interesting system. 4 o'clock. And they either go and take a nap or freshen up. They have to take a shower, and by 6:15, they're sitting ready to hear the teachings, the same teaching. The session that I read in the morning today is the same session that was read in all the 9,000 branches in 120 countries. You can't get that anywhere else. Do you know why? The 1,000 branch leader would say, no, I want to read this because this is where I am personally. Or let's say the 3,000th branch that's in Timbuktu, Africa, wakes up and say, well, today I want to read this teachings because I was watching what was... No. The same class, the same lesson that starts out in, I believe it's in Australia, travels to Fiji, to India, from India to Europe, from Europe to America, from America into Hawaii. The same energy of that session that is taught to all of the students is a collective cohesion, Mr. Feelgood. And as a result of that collective energy, we, as a small group of people in the world, are totally convinced that that collective minority of pure intentional people are responsible and are a part of the transformation of a golden aged future world. And that's what I feel very deeply. There's no way you can inspire 8,000-9,000 directors and leaders who are all self-sovereigns to do the same lesson every morning without ego clashes. So, as small as we are where the world is concerned, I believe we are so large in spirit. And I believe the system that is being created through the portal of the Brahma Kumaris, which is teaching millions of people around the world, is a system that doesn't sustain this old one that we're seeing dismantling. But it's a system that will create a world that will never watch a child suffer. It is a system that will no longer have prisons, hospitals. It will no longer have individuals who have greedy motives, who celebrate with their wealth while a child goes to bed hungry at nights. That's what we're supporting. And that's why when you and I change and transform these vices in the soul, the algae I talk about all the time, the anger, the lust, the greed, the attachment, and the ego, when we dismantle that system of working in our consciousness, we will see the trees of a golden aged world. And we will see the hope that you and I have dreamed about for so very long. So, don't wait for the majority. You'll be distracted and you'll be misled. Let your heart listen to the truth makers, the faith keepers. I got that from Dave Wabolowski from Conscious Good. Look out for the faith keepers, those who will remind you about what is true in you and what our future will be like if you maintain your truth. I have to go. I know I'm running completely out of time with all of you today. I am so sorry. It wasn't my intention to stay so long, going on and on. But this is a really deep topic because it has everything to do with how our thoughts create our vibrations and the energy that revolves around our lives. And it took a tragedy such as the coronavirus to pause and stop the world so that systems can change. Don't feed into the fear of the unknown or what's going to be lacking. Create a new system of a future that works for everyone. But you have to remain consistent. And you have to be dedicated. And you have to be sincere. And yes, courage will be needed. It will be. But we're here. We're everywhere. So you can always turn to us for that support. To just travel together. Okay? All right. So I'll let you all go. It's Sunday night. You might have your teleworking to do tomorrow. And thank you for taking this time to be with us today. And hopefully by tomorrow we'll get up the Facebook working again. And looking forward to more spiritual vaccine times with you. And on Mondays, tomorrow Monday, we're starting a new segment called Sound of Silence. So every Monday now, depending on however long we do our spiritual vaccines, we will do just meditation Mondays, where it's mostly a practice of getting used to silence and guided meditations and contemplations. And tomorrow, I'd like for you all to join me and a host of great friends as we launch See Good TV. If you go to consciousgood.com, and if Santosh can type that into the comment, I would love if you can sign up, subscribe, if you happen to be in the media, or you like conscious, good-minded media and things that inspire your spirit and stimulate you. Join us tomorrow as we beautifully soft launch this beautiful new media outlet in which you get a chance to really stimulate your mind on how you're thinking and choose to see things that are going to spiritually stimulate you. So there's a saying that you are what you watch. So again, that's what See Good TV is about. But you go to consciousgood.com, then look for the See Good page, and then you sign up. Even I signed up, even though I'm one of the speakers tomorrow. But I signed it up because I wanted to keep in touch with what is going on there. And if you have any thoughts about things that you'd like to do, send us an email if you have any ideas of activities or programs. It has to be high-end production, not even like what we're doing, but really high-end production. Let us know, drop us a line or drop them a line at See Good and sign up for their Conscious Good Network. I've had the fortune of being with them now for quite a number of years, and they've been doing fantastic work. And Trina Wyatt, who's the founder and CEO, I invest my time and energy in people. When I recognize the quality and the integrity of the people, maybe it might be a small project, but I see that project growing because of the integrity and the intention of the person behind it. It's a little bit of a slower growth because they're well-intended versus individuals who know how to manipulate a system and publicize it and move it and make it work and play all of that. And within a week, they can make it look fantastic. And I think that's great. I wish we knew how to do that. But the fact that they're just well-intended, I invite you to join me tomorrow. So it'll be at 8 a.m. PST, which I think is 11 o'clock our time. Okay? So 11 o'clock EDT and 8 o'clock PST in the morning. So contact them and let them know I suggested that you sign up with them, okay? So I want to send lots of blessings to See Good TV's launch tomorrow. I just know how beautiful everyone is in that network and who they are and how they function. So Trina, I don't know if you're tuning in today, but lots of blessings tomorrow. I know it's going to go well. And to all of our friends and supporters for our spiritual vaccine hour for the Meditation Museum, we thank you for your love and your kindness. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube page and our Facebook page. And as I've suggested, please feel free to follow the America Meditating Radio to get the latest updates. We have some great shows with a lot of doctors who are speaking about the COVID pandemic and how we can respond to it spiritually and physically as well. So you can go onto the americameditating.org website to get updated. I know you might be invited to a lot of things to do, but I think it's just my pure intention that you will recognize the heart and the purity in which we do what we do. And that's where you want to invest your time, your energy, your money, and even your ideas of how you and I can be better on our journey. Thank you so much for joining us today for this very thought-provoking evening on what we need to do to transform the way that we think and feel and shift certain systems within our own lives that are no longer of benefit to us. Many, many blessings to each and every one of you. Thank you once again. Om Shanti, and enjoy this meditation. Take care. Who am I? To think, to believe that I'm divine. Powerful, beautiful, and an offspring of the divine. I am the image and likeness of the divine. And so who am I to speak clearly to who I really am? I am spirit. I am soul. And I use this physical form I am the being of light here to fulfill love that's unlimited.